Bad influence. The dark side of kidfluencing unpacks the harrowing story of how social media and the rise of younger and younger influencers can take a toll on underdeveloped, unconsenting children in a horrifying, but also incredibly illuminating way. Social media is a relatively new thing, and as a result, most using these platforms don't fully understand the effects it may have. When it comes to children being raised in the spotlight, the cracks have been growing for a long time, and this documentary does a fantastic job at highlighting just how much still remains hidden. This short documentary series follows the story of Piper Raquel and the constantly shifting squad who become her inner circle on social media. But despite Piper's face and name being plastered all over the merch, there was one other figure standing by in the shadows pulling the strings: Piper's mom, Tiffany Smith. And while the allegations made in the series are disputed by Tiffany and Piper, the other alleged victims make an incredibly compelling case. Documentaries frequently contain bias, whether that is from the producers, directors, or individuals being interviewed. However, the series does provide some degree of evidence to back up its claims beyond individual accounts and testimonies. While not all the claims have reliable evidence to back it up, Bad Influence does a great job of building its case, presenting witness accounts, and putting the information together in a narrative. And with all the pieces in place, the picture the docuseries paints is a harrowing one. Smith is portrayed as a dubious, grotesque, and profoundly problematic woman who made numerous choices that not only negatively affected her daughter, but also put many other children in harm's way. And judging by the evidence as it's presented, it's hard to argue with the story as it unfolds. The series also taps into our emotions and sensibilities in a way that makes it resonate on several levels and encourages emotional responses. Beyond the claims Bad Influence makes, it also does a tremendous job of highlighting what can happen when children are exposed to a life online. From a young age, these children are exploited and often forced to work in environments they don't comprehend, performing tasks they don't always enjoy to earn money to pay for the people who would usually be supporting them. But life in front of the cameras flips the script pretty quickly. Tiffany Smith stands accused of essentially using and selling her daughter to the world through social media. But this documentary makes a strong case that kidfluencers, by and large, fall into similar categories. Whether they were successful or not, whether they were pushed beyond certain limits or not, all of these ambiguous questions pale in comparison to the simple fact that these children lose their childhood for content. And once they fall into that cycle, it can be a challenge to break out. It's possible that there are exceptions to the rule, and some children experienced this way of life and grew up to be well-adjusted, but on some level, no one makes it through this process unscathed. As the series highlights the type of audience these children attract, or how parents fail to properly safeguard their children due to misplaced trust, it becomes increasingly clear this type of environment is not for children. But through the internet's rapid growth and the greed of others, children have become victims in the influencer landscape. Bad Influence is a powerful documentary that tells a provocative, dark, and tragic story. However, the series only scratches the surface of what exists in the wild west of kidfluencers by focusing on one group of kids. The documentary highlights a handful of other problematic creators, and it makes sense to tell the larger story through a sharper focus on one particularly offensive figure, but the gaps in exploration are felt. Despite this, Bad Influence, the dark side of kidfluencing has a compelling narrative, great pacing, and plenty of evidence to drive home the point it's making. Social media and kids shouldn't mix.